The possibility of Derek Carr returning to the NFL was already surprising. The idea that his comeback could land him with the New York Jets makes it even more intriguing and complicated. According to Matthew Berry of NBC Sports, the New Orleans Saints, who still control Carr's rights, are expected to move him, and the Jets are the AFC team most strongly connected to a potential trade. On the surface, it feels like one struggling franchise passing a veteran quarterback to another. But once you dig deeper, the situation reveals layers of leverage, timing, and desperation that could shape both organizations' short-term futures. Why the Saints appear ready to move on. The Saints' comfort level is the first domino. Barry's report indicates New Orleans is very happy with Tyler Shough, effectively signaling that Carr is no longer part of their long-term or even short-term plans. That's significant because Carr didn't retire due to declining performance. He retired because of a serious shoulder injury before the 2025 season began. When a team publicly expresses confidence in a successor, it changes trade dynamics. It reduces ambiguity. The Saints aren't holding Carr as insurance. They're positioning him as an asset. That suggests two things. One, they believe Carr is medically close to clearance. Two, they don't want to carry his contract or uncertainty into camp. From a front office perspective, this is about asset optimization. If Carr is healthy enough to play and motivated to return, his value is highest now before teams finalize depth charts and after draft evaluations settle. Why the Jets make sense and don't. The Jets' interest is logical in one respect. They need stability. A 3-14 season doesn't just represent failure, it represents organizational reset. After trading away foundational defensive stars like Sauce Gardner and Quinnen Williams, New York signaled it is either rebuilding aggressively or retooling around a new core identity. Quarterback instability has haunted the franchise for years. Adding Carr would not solve every structural issue, but it would provide experience, leadership, and competence. Three traits the Jets have lacked at the position. However, the fit clashes with Carr's stated requirement. He has publicly said he would only return if he felt fully healthy and believed the team had a chance to win a Super Bowl. On paper, the Jets do not meet that threshold. They were tied for the worst record in football last season. Their roster is thinner. Their defense, once the team's identity, has been partially dismantled. So why would Carr consider it? The reality of leverage. When a 34-year-old quarterback retires due to injury and then signals a comeback, leverage becomes limited. Super Bowl contenders rarely shop for aging quarterbacks coming off significant shoulder concerns. Teams in championship windows typically want either proven durability or ascending talent. Carr may discover that his preferred destinations are not available. That forces recalibration. If New York offers a clear starting job, a strong contract structure, and offensive input in system design, it may become the most realistic opportunity, even if it isn't a championship-ready roster today. And from the Jets' perspective, the calculus is simple. Competence first, contention later. The Minnesota angle. There were whispers connecting Carr to the Minnesota Vikings. Barry dismissed that notion directly, stating he did not hear that at all. That denial matters. Minnesota presents a very different scenario. Stronger recent infrastructure, playoff competitiveness, and arguably closer to Carr's Super Bowl criteria. But if that door isn't open, Carr's market narrows quickly. The Jets then become less about preference and more about practicality. Carr's risk profile. The shoulder injury cannot be overlooked. Quarterbacks rely on torque, velocity, and repetitive high-stress motion. Even if cleared medically, durability concerns linger. Teams will scrutinize velocity metrics, recovery timelines, and throwing mechanics during private evaluations. For the Jets, trading for Carr isn't just about talent, it's about medical confidence. If they believe his arm strength returns to pre-injury levels and his decision-making remains intact, he instantly upgrades their quarterback room. If not, they inherit risk. That's the delicate balance. What Carr would actually bring at his peak? Carr wasn't elite, but he was efficient. He can operate timing-based systems. He protects the football when supported by structure. He commands huddles and absorbs complex protections quickly. For a young or transitioning offense, those qualities matter, but Carr is not a quarterback who single-handedly elevates a flawed roster deep into January. He thrives when infrastructure is stable. That's the paradox. The Jets need elevation. Carr thrives on stability. If New York believes it can construct stability around him through draft additions and offensive line reinforcement, the move becomes defensible. Saints' motivation beyond depth chart. There's also a financial layer. Even if Carr retired, contractual rights remain an asset. Moving him clears cap implications and avoids future complications if he re-enters the league. The Saints aren't emotionally attached here. They're strategically clearing the runway for their next era. If Tyler Shough performs as expected, the Carr chapter becomes a transitional footnote. The psychological component. Carr's career has been defined by resilience and scrutiny. From his years with the Raiders to his uneven stretch in New Orleans, he has navigated coaching changes, roster shifts, and public doubt. A comeback attempt adds another layer of pressure. If he returns and struggles, the narrative becomes harsher. If he returns and steadies a chaotic franchise like the Jets, the redemption arc strengthens. That narrative element matters, especially for a veteran quarterback weighing legacy considerations late in his career. Why this move would be classic Jets. The Jets historically oscillate between rebuilding and chasing quick fixes. Trading for Carr could be interpreted either way. If viewed as a short-term stabilizer while grooming a younger quarterback behind him, it's pragmatic. If viewed as a primary solution to deeper roster issues, it risks repeating past cycles. The front office must define its intention clearly. Carr cannot be both bridge and savior without unrealistic expectations. Carr's standards versus market reality. The most fascinating element remains Carr's Super Bowl condition. In theory, every competitor wants a ring. In practice, opportunity shapes ambition. If no immediate contender presents an offer, Carr faces a choice: wait and risk no opportunity. Accept a developmental team and attempt to elevate it. Quarterbacks rarely walk into perfect situations late in their careers. More often, they shape imperfect ones. If Carr believes New York's struggles were more about instability than talent, he may convince himself the Jets are closer than their record suggests. That's how veterans justify second acts. Final outlook. The report linking Carr to the Jets feels credible, not because it's glamorous, but because it's logical. The Saints appear ready to move forward. The Jets need quarterback experience. Carr wants to return, but may not control the ideal landing spot. In a league driven by leverage and timing, those conditions often align. If the trade happens, it won't dominate headlines the way blockbuster quarterback moves once did. It will feel measured, even risky, but sometimes the NFL isn't about splash. It's about survival. For Derek Carr, survival means finding a team willing to believe his shoulder holds up. For the Jets, survival means finding a quarterback capable of restoring baseline competence. If both sides see mutual benefit, the deal becomes less about chasing a Super Bowl immediately and more about stabilizing chaos. And in today's AFC landscape, sometimes that's the first step toward relevance again.